role of women in the telco industry today and tomorrow. We've got amazing panel speakers today. So thank you for those that have joined us in person. Thank you for those that are joining us online today as well. So when women represent more than 20% of a company's management team, the research shows that the company's innovation revenues actually increase by at least 10%. Sounds pretty good. Could be better, but we're not seeing enough women in the telco industry. And in fact, in Asia Pacific, a recent research found in some countries, in the telco industry, the representation of women can be as low as 25%. And when in those companies where it may actually be higher, they're finding that there are actually less women at leadership level, and you're tending to see more women at junior level. Yet again, there's loads of other research that says, you know, companies that are gender diverse, they actually tend to perform so much better. So with some of those facts in mind, we're hoping to unpack that in this panel to better understand what are some of the opportunities and challenges. So we have a wealth of experience on our panel here. So let's just first find out, in terms of your own experience and with the industry changing so much, you know, what is it that you see or you strongly feel that women bring to the table? So we're going to start off with Shahara, who could just introduce yourselves. I think one of the things, we have a wealth, as I said, a wealth of experience on this panel, maybe over 100 years if you were to add it up between us. Different experiences, but most importantly, so just introduce yourselves and do share with us what you think women really bring to the telco industry in terms of their value.
Thank you, Nimisha, and the carrier community for having me on this panel. My name's Shahara Viswanathan. I've been in this industry for almost 25 years, and for 20 of those years, I worked in telecommunications companies, and the last 5 years I've worked for Cisco Systems. I lead the service adoption team in the region for partners at Cisco. And this is an area that I'm very passionate about. I love technology. I love working in this space. But in the last 24 years, there needs to be much more gender representation. And in addition to what you just said, Nimisha, I think for me, the obvious reason is that while people who identify as women are highly underrepresented in the companies, we are almost half the market, right? We are almost half the customers. So if we really want to access the market, then we must increase our gender representation in the companies because we're really missing out. I also very highly believe in the democratization of technology. And as a consumer in this market, I really want my products and services made, delivered, marketed, and sold by a much more diverse group of people. So really, I think it's an exciting opportunity that we haven't cracked yet, but I really want to see.
Fantastic. So Adeline, we were just talking about, you know, your career and your experience. So perhaps you could just introduce us on your journey and from your perspective, what you have found is one of the key contributions that women make.
Thank you, Nimisha. Wow, that would take a whole day. Hello, everyone. So my name is Adeline. I head CMI Singapore, and I also take care of 5 other South Asia countries. So give me do I have a whole day?
We wish, we wish.
Okay, my experience, right? Okay, I think we had a very interesting conversation this morning. And I also shared with Nimisha about my view as a woman leader. And I think how I gone through from oil and gas industry while fixing the chemical valve, regulation, filtrations. And then I come into telco industry, data centers, IP, GIN network and all. And here I am today. In 6 years is in Singapore. I bring the business from 5 to today's size and from millions of dollars to 900 over millions. And I think women, when we need to agree with ourselves, all right, maybe it sounds too positive, but it is not easy, but it's doable. I'd like to share my first job experience. Of the 26 engineers that when I was having a training in Tokyo and in Los Angeles, I'm the only lady in the room, okay? When my turn to stand up, go to the stage to show the demonstrations, to present in front of all the guys, it is really, really interesting, the way they look at you, you know. I don't know whether they're smiling or not smiling, but when you speak out confidently, all right, you win yourself from the first stage. And from the day one, I built my team, we always communicate openly, keep transparency. And I agree with them. I want them to speak out, all right, and to be confident, all right. There are no right or wrong as long as we do it right, be objective based, and we can eventually be there. It is okay to make a mistake, but we learn from mistake. So that part is actually really my journey. One day, I summarize everything from one day to a few minutes. Okay.
Thank you very much there. So some really good insight there in terms of leadership is one of the strong qualities that women bring to the workforce. So that's a little snippet of your journey. I know there's been much more. But another lady with that's very well known in the industry too is Le Quan. So tell us about yourself very briefly and what you think women are bringing to the table.
Thank you, Nimisha. Good morning, everybody. So she said I'm very well known. Sometimes people call me the queen of career. Like, sorry, I'm being arrogant. I have been in the industry for, I don't want to use the word for, but I got no choice, almost 40 years now. And true blue telco person, because I started with telco and then I moved into submarine cable and I moved into data center and then now I'm back into telco. So currently I hold a job in OneCode Private Limited, and they are into the latest gadget. They build platform for gaming. So before I joined the company, I was looking at their website and then they have like a star topology network. I just thinking, who in this world now build star topology network? But wow, my goodness, when I realized what the purpose they serve, okay, and how well known, all right, they are in the gaming industry. And this is definitely, the technology of the future, the business of the futures, okay. And I was shocked that last year when we hold a game in Singapore, the stadium, the indoor stadium in Singapore was fully booked, okay, and the ticket, each ticket is $1,000 over. And the winner is a 5-man or 5 youth team, teenagers. They were teenagers, and then they bring home millions of dollars. That is where we are heading. Cutting edge technology. Okay, thank you.
So what do you think has been in the gaming industry? What do you think are some of the benefits if you were to get more women taking part?
I think women sometimes do strategize better. Actually, I think I noticed that the game is not just about killing, it's about strategizing. I don't play the game, okay, so it's totally new for me. But I do notice that, the formation of team, and that is what makes it interesting. And I was just actually in shock when I realized that, my son is watching other people playing game. And I say, what fun is that? He said, do you watch Olympic? He said, people are running, you're watching. So young people, they have different thinking. And so watching other people playing electronic games seems to be very, very popular. And yeah, and then of course, I understand later on the founding member of OneCode, they were gamers before. So when they grow up, you know, they didn't have the infrastructure to play a good game, but when they grow up, they say, let's build this infrastructure. Yeah, so very exciting. Yeah, thank you.
We also talked about it this morning, right? And I think having women in the industry, the technology as a telco, I think we are in the very interesting place where all the infrastructure that we built, it is actually to cater for the market trend, all right? And the world that we are living now, right? The infrastructure that we built, the solutions, the gaming that just now you mentioned, it is a lifestyle, right? So what make women different is that women attentive to a lot of details. We see things differently. From men, it's not that men is, but we have a different way of seeing things. We will suggest a different values. And what we want to achieve is that we want to make a happy customer. When customer is satisfied, it is actually you make a good product or solutions, and that keep a company branding as well. And end of the day, I don't know whether the ladies here or the audience will agree with me. Actually, it helps a company to generate revenue a lot faster because you need to have a right positioning, right for cater for the right market and the consumer, the individual like you and me, right? And also, I think we need to set a role model as well and be confident to speak out, all right? And with men and women, we provide a different opinion, different ideas, and put on the table and improve whatever we want to achieve.
Thank you very much there. Thanks. Let's turn onto this side and let's get Ming to introduce yourself and share your experiences from the value of women.
Thank you, Nimisha. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here today. So my name is Ming. I'm from NTT. NTT is a Japanese company which has global coverage across the globe. We provide IT services literally from the carpet to the cloud. So full suite of services and portfolio that we can provide across the globe. For me, I've been in the technology industry for more than 25 years, and I've been doing telco for most of it. The reason why I say most of it is because now telco and IT are kind of blended. Yeah, you see cloud providers, you see technology providers, you see telco providing similar services across the globe, helping enterprises to provide mission critical services to run their business. So from my experience over the past 25 years, I've been running sales, I've been running businesses, and I'm also running startups. So I see being a woman in this industry is actually an advantage rather than disadvantage. Depends how you look at it, right? So, but from my point of view, it's an advantage and I make full use of it. Of course, there are challenges, there are pitfalls, there are difficult times. I can't deny that. However, all the times that when I'm down, I look at what is the next step and pick myself up to move on to the next step and the next step. And I'll give you an example where I was in the previous organization that I was in, which is a startup of a Chinese origin. I do not speak Chinese. I do not write Chinese. I do not understand Chinese. But I joined a Chinese company and ran a startup. And the reason why I did that, and everyone was telling me, are you crazy? Are you trying to, kamikaze? But to me, it's a challenge. And I told myself that if I don't do it now, when? So I took that challenge and leap of faith and move on. The challenges were real. I have no understanding what's going on. I most of the time I'm guessing, but I focus on one thing that is important is the business and the clients. So focus on what is important and ignore all the noise around me and just focus on making things happen one step at a time with one resource, which is me in Singapore, and slowly grew that into a big team. That experience taught me that everything and anything is possible so long as you want to do it and you put your heart and soul into it and don't give up. I fell many times, I can tell you. I picked myself up many times. But that experience told me that no matter what you put me into right now, I will survive. So that's my story, at least for now. Thank you.
Fantastic. And last but not least, unless the best till last, Carmen, please introduce the amazing experience you've had so far.
I was about to say good morning, but now we have reached noon.
We're
So good
literally-
afternoon,
keeping you-
everyone. I would like to first thanks for having me today in this session. So everyone has got a very structured background, but I have to really say I didn't even know how I started off coming into industry. To be very honest, at my time, okay, when I had to decide my university, my degree, that whole time, I would say 99.99% of the lady would choose banking and financing because we can look nice, we can be in that, there will be a lot of opportunity. But coming from Hong Kong, I also had a boyfriend then working in IBM as a senior engineer person. So he said to me, don't go into that. You can't compete with them. Okay, so do something different. So you see, technology, IT is a thing to do. So I said, I don't even know what a computer is. So I don't even know how I can turn on a PC that very time. But with him empowering me, I did my com science in UK. It was a very, very challenging journey for me because it's like if you ask me today, I'm very lucky. We have a lot of ladies in this room, or maybe also online. I remember being Asian, studying in UK, and on a technical, I would say the earlier batch of the technical degree. I don't remember seeing more than 5 ladies in the whole campus. So it was a very, very hard thing for me. But throughout, also we didn't have the technology like today. We can do what apps. We still have that technology called dial-up. We don't even have MSN then, I have to say. So you can guess my age. So it was very hard for him to really grow me remotely. I feel very downhearted because also the weather over there is not really pleasant. So most of the time you feel down, you need help. But interestingly, occasion he will also send some material to me through DHL and stuff like that, teach me over the phone. I remember there were a few occasions we had a phone bill about $3,000 Singapore dollar on a mobile bill, just because I need to learn how to write a program to understand the logic and stuff like that. So it took me a very, very hard time, but I was quite lucky I have him. And also blending with the peers in my school. So story short, so I graduated in com science, okay? So funny enough, also coming back to Singapore to see my mother, I didn't expect myself to be in Singapore till today, okay? But I think, as I say, I had a boyfriend much older than me. So he said to me, after graduation, you must come back and marry me. So to me, it's like, I want to see the world. I didn't do anything. So very quickly, I said, okay, no matter what, I will spend some time with my mother. I will go for interview and see how things goes. Because no matter what, if I go for interview, if I don't do it well, it is just all within Singapore. So I can use the same experience going back to Hong Kong to secure a better job. So funny enough, my first job, without me knowing, I walk into a telco, Telecom Italia. So it's like also quite interestingly, at that very point, it was all, I would say day one of the technology. So we also built our, okay, it's also quite interesting. Okay, I would say I was cheated to be in the company. So I thought, oh, we can work in the city. Then later on, when I would start work on the day one, they said, we have to move the location to IBP, which is very remote. I'm living in the east. But they have this visions to build their own infrastructure to compete with Singtel then, a very big player then. So it's like the company has got a lot of an investment. I would say to groom the people. Okay, people in our team generally maybe my age. We got some senior staff, maybe just 10 years or 15 years older than us. So all of us basically has got no idea what technology is all about, but we do have a lot of funding to learn stuff. So you wouldn't expect I was an IT infrastructure manager, day one. I lay cables. I also did my CCNA because the company actually, as long you study it, you get your certificate. So that's how I went through those time. And interestingly, actually, I think Lei Kwan witnessed all of the funny part of my my day one of the journey, because it's like being a young lady. I used to be a part-time model too. So going to work, I tend to dress up very well every day. And some colleague also tease me, are you going for a wedding tonight? I say, no, I just want to look good. Does not mean I'm in a technical background, I can't dress up nice. So even laying cables, or maybe there are duties when I don't really need to do physical job. I'll wear high heels, not shorter than 3 inches. People will tease, okay, we have an in-house data center with a long glass panel. So some of my peers would tease, look at that goldfish, look at that butterfly. So there's a lot of teasing and things like that. But I think throughout the whole time, I have really demonstrated a lot. I can really do the job, and I got a lot of involvement on special project, really very real difficult technology project, because it's like we learn at the same time. I don't know where today we have a company paying you to learn, at the same time to give you an actual access for you to really do stuff. So there are a lot of stuff we really have to test within the company before we launch it out to the customer. So so there's a lot of teasing also, like what this woman can do, because at that very point, it's only one lady. If we have an audience, Michael Kelly, I'm sure you know, we didn't have a big IT team in the whole company, but I don't know why we have a big network team and service team, I think over 20 men. So it was very hard for me to take care of all of this, including even payback systems and stuff like that.
But it sounds as if one of the themes that I'm hearing from you is you've really put in a lot of investment in yourself.
No, but being young,
so taking that confidence.
Being young, you will try everything. So it's like we will stay up late. We do a lot of migrations at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So we have also some teammates buying us cake or a supper to visit us. So it's very motivating after all. But if you ask me, I would say those 2 years, I would say is the best time of my whole career journey, and give me what I am today, because I have a very good foundations on technical background. So even doing commercial today, I'm able to articulate some message and to be able to share, because it's like really a practical situations.
Fantastic, thanks. And I think you've laid the foundation for some of the other things I want to come back to you on to touch on. So you've met our wonderful speakers here. So one of the things that we've, just to sum up, they've heard that one of the things that women bring is, well, bring in the women if you want to access more than 50% of your market. So by not doing that, women are good leaders, women are strategic, invest in yourself, take advantage of the opportunities. So with that in mind, some of the benefits that women bring, what are the companies, what are you in your telco companies or your organization, what do you have been implementing to try and get more women in place? Because it's all very saying, yes, it's all very great, but when you bring it back to your organization, what programs are you seeing that are working, that didn't quite work? Perhaps we could share some of those. Maybe I can see Shahara nodding her head. What are some of the programs that you think have been helping out?
I might highlight one area. So research, especially recent research, has shown that in addition to mentoring and coaching, sponsorship is key for promotion. So recent research showed, I think it was 23% of people have said that they got promoted, or you're 23% more likely to get promoted if you have a sponsor. And sponsorship is something that has happened unconsciously for generations, right? We all probably do it. We go into the rooms we're in and we will sponsor or talk about or refer someone for a program, a project, and for all sorts of things. At Cisco, we've got a sponsorship program called the Multiply Effect, where we formally take that further. And all people managers are encouraged to sponsor someone different to them. So in addition to the unconscious and conscious sponsorship that we all do, we are also encouraged to sponsor someone different to us. We also train sponsees to go and find people that they have worked with that can sponsor them. And we train sponsors to take note of the people in their teams or in projects that they're doing that they can sponsor in those rooms that those people aren't in. So it's a really, really strong program. It helps bring great talent into the company, but also to sponsor people within the company to roles and programs that they would like to work in.
Thanks for that. I'm a big supporter of mentoring and certainly been very powerful. And there's a lot of programs around there. I just wanted to ask, from your experience, what has made it successful? Because it's great in idea, but how do you actually make it success? Because I've also heard a lot of stories where it's the commitment's fallen apart, or, you know, I don't know who my mentor is, or my mentor didn't turn up. You know, what has worked from your experience?
So I want to firstly highlight mentoring and sponsorship are really very different, and we all need both. So to answer your question specifically around mentoring, I think what works is, again, it's the individual. You have to support individuals to find the right mentor, and then for the mentor to be trained as well on how to run a structured, goal-orientated mentoring program with your mentee. Sponsorship, it's different, right? To sponsor someone in a room and put your own name on the line to say, I think this person will be great at this job, or you need this person in the program, you need to understand that person. You need to have worked with that person. You need to trust that person. And I can guarantee we've all sponsored people in the past, whether it's in our personal lives or at work, right? But we all generally tend to sponsor people that we know really well, that we have, that are like us, because we can then put our reputation on the line and say, this person has the identical background to me. This person went to the same universities. They look like me. They've done the same jobs. So what at Cisco we're trying to do is get people managers to go further and note the great work that is being done in the programs that they're in. So not to sponsor people they haven't worked with, but to take note of the diverse talent they're working with and make an effort to sponsor them in the rooms that those people aren't in. Because we know that in addition to mentoring and coaching, we know that sponsorship works.
Thanks for sharing that. So there's two examples, and thanks for clarifying the difference between mentoring and sponsoring too. Let's go to Ming, because I know that one of your passions is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So tell us more about that and some of the programs that you've seen or implemented even yourself to bring in more women.
Well, thank you. Great question there. And definitely DE&I is one of my passion. I've been doing this for more than 15 years, even though back then maybe it's not so, promoted so widely across the world and not deliberately done as well. But in my own space and my own time, I would actually encourage a lot of youth to start off, because from youth, you have the adults. So for me, you start from young, you get a great, leeway and also great journey ahead of you. So I like to start from a youth. So I actually mentor a lot of youth from their young age, like 16, 15. I have some youth that are at risk. So I volunteer in a halogen program where we look after the youth at risk. I was fortunate enough to give an opportunity to mentor a youth who is now, I think, 25 maybe, and no longer youth. And he is a successful businessman. He owns 2 businesses, and third one coming up. He's based in London, but he's traveling around the world. I see on his Instagram, he's like, living a high life, and that's great. But we started off at a young age, learning at what is important to his career, to his journey, and moving on from there. And since then, I've been doing a lot for different age groups, especially women. I want women to be able to have the same experience and the same opportunities starting from themselves. So to me, a lot of things that we do has to come from within. So we can do a lot of programs, what Cisco is doing is fantastic. What NTT doing is fantastic. We create a lot of opportunities for our staff to be involved, to create more opportunities for women to be involved. When we hire, look at women community as a start, give them more opportunities if possible. But of course, at the end, it's still merit of the individuals. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to the individual, whether we take that challenge up or not, and whether we're going to challenge ourselves or not to take that next step. And in my views, we do have to go out of our comfort zone from a women perspective. And I see a lot of a lot of women pull ourselves back because we are not comfortable, or maybe we don't have 100% of what is needed to do that job. We'll say no to it. We wait till we get 100%. That time the opportunity is gone. My story about not knowing Chinese and go into a Chinese company, I hope that resonates with you in some things that you want to do. Just bite the bullet and go. If you believe that you can do well, and you believe strongly that it's your passion to succeed. So a lot of times it takes both hands to clap, just like mentor and sponsorship. We need to do both ways. But from a women perspective, I encourage women in this room or online. And I have 2 girls, so my girls too, and a role model to my girls that take that challenge up, no matter what it is, and move on beyond your comfort zone. And I believe things will happen magically.
That's really good advice. Quite often in companies, I think you can have, coming back to the point, so many different structures or programs that, you think are going to actually help, but women, you've got to take advantage of them. So go look for them and put your hand up and take advantage. Adeline, we were talking very similar to earlier on, and yeah, I also saw you nodding when Ming was talking about coming forward. From your experiences, you've built the business here in Singapore. What things did you put in place so that you had a diverse team?
Okay, before answer your questions, I'd like to also echo from Ming, and I'm also a lady that support DEI. I believe that, and while she's sharing her experience, it brings me back to the memory of my first job about, never quit, I say the same thing to my team as well. In fact, in CMISG, everyone know that it is embargoed. You cannot say, I don't know, but you can say that I'm not sure. I will go and find out, It is a lot of things that I sharing in my journey that I never allowed myself to give up. All right. And all this actually, if you build from young and follow the mentor or and talk to people around you, without knowing, you are actually pushing yourself more and learn more, right? By the way, what was your question again?
No, I think you're highlighting that what I think that I got is that you created a team and made sure your team was comfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
And making it safe to say, having the attitude of, I don't really know how to do this, but I'm going to the confidence to find out how.
The signs of aging. Now I remember your question. You asked me as how I bring up my team. All right, what kind of culture that I set to make sure the business success. Throughout my all 3 journey, I only worked 3 jobs, 7 years in oil and gas, 10 years with NTT. All right. And now I'm with China Mobile, 6 years. I built the team from scratch, all right, 5 to today's size. And I constantly build a culture of we can do it. And I think I have been promoting can-do attitude very long time already. And that helps the teams to really, when they have when a challenges obstacle, I actually coach them. And I want the manager to coach the new joiner the same thing as well, because without knowing whatever things that you do, you actually earn something from it. And once you go over the obstacle, you actually gain the experience already. And all this you can actually duplicate and guide the new joiner and actually to excel in your career or excel in your life. That's what I've been through all these years. All right. And I think this is a good practice. And in CMI, I actually also actually practice a winning culture. And this winning culture topics it is internal trainings that we value about trust, about respect each other, about be responsible in everyone, yourself, your act, all right, and care for each other. And today, I think I'm very happy and proudly to say that I told my team, I am successful if one day all of you is happy to come back to work. And in fact, even after COVID, I still implement the hybrid, 4+1, where I really just measure the end result. I don't care whether you're home or somewhere else, as long as you don't let the ball drop. Okay. And I'm still very happy that see all my managers and all my team members, they always come back to office. Even though we already have the flexibility that you can work from home or somewhere else. So I think this is a good practice, and this is something that I would like to share.
I wish I was working with these ladies. I'd alternate during the week, do my rounds around your organizations. So these are just some examples of good practice or putting in a program or changing the culture of your organization. And I think a lot of work, to be fair, is being done to attract women, especially young women, into the telco industry and see it for future careers. But one of the things that the research is also showing, it's not just about attracting young women. It's about trying to get women who've maybe left the career, left the job market and wanting to come back. How do you entice some of those to actually come in? In fact, for COVID, some of the research also suggests that some women have left the industry. They've started well in the telco industry, but then maybe left. Or women weren't getting promoted, coming back to not seeing enough women in senior leadership positions. So that sort of leads me to, well, why are women not coming in? Why are women dropping out? What are some of those challenges? And so, Lekwan, if I could come to you in terms of looking, what do you think are some of those challenges? Why aren't women getting promoted, or why are we? And what do you see? We have a few men that are obviously in the room, and obviously lots of men in the industry. What can they do to help and to actually support the women?
Okay, I am not so sure about having the needs for the men to help. I think women are just, has too many interests in life. So yeah, I think if they are in telco and then, the pace of change in the technology is too fast and there's too many things to focus on, they may drop out. I think this is one of the potential reasons. And I think work-life balance. So I have seen, okay, that women drop out is because, they were put onto a shift that they cannot cope. They have to be a mother, they have to be a housekeeper, then they have to work. And then so this kind of schedule does not work for them. Okay, but I also have run organizations where the entire shift is run by women. Okay, so the entire shift is run by women, and we are able to then, the woman is able to understand each other better and understand that, okay, today, if I have some family commitment, some other woman will take over, because all of them are mothers, right? Yeah. But yeah, I don't really think that specifically we need the men to help. And I don't think men, I don't know, there are a few men here. What do you think? The women who are in telco, okay, and they stay in telco, and it's only one reason, because they have the passion for the technology. They like it, okay, and they can cope with it, and so they stay. And I can say for all the ladies here that, the genuine true of love in this, okay, and that you actually wake up in the morning and say, yeah, I'm going to get this done, okay, or that done. And I think that should be the way, right? And women has been in technology, even though there are fewer. I mean, today we talk about 20%. Okay, in 1984, maybe is, I don't know, is maybe 1% or 5%. And then, there is the mother of internet. Okay, mother of internet, Dr. Perman, okay, she is the one who created the protocol. Okay, if she don't have invented this protocol, we don't have today's internet, right? So far and beyond, she's the 1% of the population of the you know the minority, and yet she's the one who have developed this. And of course, you know, she's my envy, right? Wow, she's the mother of internet. Maybe you heard of father of CC-Webinar.Live, but you never heard of mother of internet. so in when I started the work in 1990, in the early 90s, when I travel, my passport actually say I'm an engineer. So one of the countries that I went to, the custom officer asked, you know, are you an engineer? How can you be engineer? And I said, why not? He said, you are a woman. How can you be engineer? Anyway, I digress. So yeah, I think women who are here, they love the technology, they are passionate about it. Okay, and this technology really changed very fast. Yeah, and you can see that now we are not just talking about telco, it's actually the ecosystem. It's submarine cable, it's data center, now it's AI in the works and all that, and so you know it goes on. So we really have to find time to catch up on all this. Thank you.
So I think you mentioned quite a few. I think definitely the one about the fast pace of technology, and you know, and even we talk about you know, I think, or even on this panel, there's experience from different parts of the ecosystem that are here. In terms of coming back, I'm going to come back to you about the issue about men. If you don't necessarily, what role do you think they play? Did you? Maybe that's a different way to rephrase. How, from your experience, you know, have you found being able to network with them better, or what is it that helped you in your journey and helping you to go with your passion?
I think for sure, of course, you know, men and women, we bring different things, you know, and then, you know, it is this diversity that, you know, that create this, how you say, creativities. Men have different thinking and women have different thinking. And then when they fuse together, then they, you know, then the creativity sparks. And so, and that's how, like you say earlier on, that when there is woman, okay, then, you know, there is productivity. The company actually do better. And it is because of this mix. So I really cannot imagine working, you know, with every single colleague of mine are male or every single colleague of mine are female. Wouldn't it be very dull? Okay, I think fun is not a benefit maybe, but having fun in the work, okay, is actually maybe a distance benefit to say that, wow, okay, I really enjoy it because, you know, I have these different colleagues. And in daily life, we see men and women think very differently. I am married now for I don't know how many years now, okay? And I still have miscommunication with my husband. I say one thing, he think another thing, and he misinterpret. To today. So, just this morning, I want half a cup of coffee. He gave me full cup of coffee. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm checking at that. I think that's an interesting aspect, because you're right. I mean, that can be a whole topic in itself. I mean, miscommunication between spouses. But it shows the importance of, you know, with having gender diverse workforces, the importance of communication. So those ideas really come through, and the openness of that. So I think that's something that's really important, that I think, you know, men have a role to play in terms of thinking about how you're communicating with women, just as women need to be aware of how they are communicating too. Keeping on the subject of the role of men, I'm going to come back to Carmen, who was telling us a story a little bit earlier on about the boyfriend that told her to come back because they were going to get married. So what role did this gentleman have? And maybe you could tell us more about, you know, what is it that men can do to help women?
Thanks for reminding me that. Okay, I have to be very honest with you. Okay, this boyfriend of mine is no longer together, but we are still in contact. Okay, I have to really say he's my first mentor in life, coming into the industry, and without me knowing, I can spend I think I have the shortest experience in this, about 22 years. Seriously, I also find it quite interesting in a way. I seriously think we need men. I'd give you an example. In my previous company, we don't have a big team, so I always think having all the women together will be easier. And for us, because we are sales driven, we are BD driven. So for us to knock door is very easy. Dress nice, talk sense. It works. To a point, we understand there is also some area we need a good balance. So we had a male teammate coming into the picture because it was my boss' idea. Because he said to me, when you travel to some countries, when you do entertainment, it is very important you have someone to take care of you. I said, I've been traveling for so many years already, so I'm okay. But to some degree, I found this gentleman is also playing a big part into that area. So I said to him, I said, I'm not very comfortable to have a man in our team. So, but one thing I will need you to do, the time we are spending at work is a lot more than how you spend with your partner. I mean, when you spend with your partner, you sleep most of the time in 6 hours. You don't really interact. I mean, some interactions, yeah. But I think at work, you spend a lot of time together. So I said to him, I don't need you to love me, but I need us to be able to like each other, to enjoy the time together. So don't take me as a woman. I'm a woman, but some amount of thought, be upfront to me. Things that you like, things you don't like. If you think it's too overwhelming being in a woman team, say so. So ultimately, these things really work. So we do a good balance, and I have to really thank him for I have less gray hair because I have to spend less late hours for entertainment. Yeah, so that's I really think that helps. But also coming back to the point about if we need men. On the other hand, another mentor of mine, Lee Kwan, also know. We're supposed to have him to join our session today. A gentleman from a senior executive level, but he's traveling now. He said to me, whether or not work or home, okay, men need women, because we are in the detail. There are a lot of things women do, men can't do. For instance, we are detail oriented. We have the ability to follow through, which is something men generally don't have the patience to do so, but we can do that. So he actually concluded, this is after all what best for the committee and for the industry. So that's how it is. Also quite interesting, maybe one more point to touch. In our recent panel, you know, I always don't really prepare myself to work, so I'll just give example on the spot. So quite randomly, I touch on the part on the co-treatment approach. So funny enough, I mean, we have a lot of people, I remember. So there is this gentleman was waiting for me when we step up after we took the photo. So I was also finding it quite surprising. So he walked up to me, introduced himself. He is an R&D professor working in London. So the things that I touched on was really very helpful. He thanked me for that. And he said, this is exactly the situation. He needs help on that. So we had so-called the first engagement on that. So I give him some idea what we can do. We exchange the contact when we're still in contact now. But after I think 3 months now, the co-treatment that he had with his male peers, apparently he told me, I think about 2 weeks ago, he texted me. He is having lunch with his male colleagues. So I do believe there's something that women do can really help, because men always like, sorry, we are women, less ego prone. So we don't bother about faces. We just do things for the objective. We will not fight or hold on to something because that is what the purpose for the ego's sake. So this is something I do find women does help. And at the same time, men also lead women, whether or not in this industry.
That's a great great point to share. Thank you, Carmen. And I think the other theme that we're hearing is that women actually want to work in a diverse area too. So that's also a sign that it's not that women just want to work with women too. We are very much towards the end of this panel, but I wanted to just very quickly touch on one question. So it's a very short response, but I think Lê Quan already pointed out one of the things that she stays in this industry is because she's passionate, very driven, lots of things changing. I'm going to put that question to Ming very quickly. For the women who are already in the industry, want to come into the industry, please stay. But from Ming's experience, what makes you want to stay?
I see technology as an enabler, and it's going to stay in our life for many, many more years to come. So as a person that is very passionate about helping, I see being in technology, I'm helping a lot of people. I'm helping the community, the business to flourish. And also, on a personal level, I'm able to help more youth, more community to be able to do more for themselves. So on that note, I find this really deep in me to motivate me to do things every day, whether it's in business or in personal life, and keep going in this technology world. Thank you.
Fantastic. Adeline, just from you, what keeps you in the business?
It's very simple. It's just that I love the job and I enjoy the job. Okay. And I'm a person that loves challenges. And I'm also a very curious person. So staying in Telco, actually, we need to really follow the trend, the technology trend. And especially Telco nowadays, we are providing end-to-end solutions. And so end-to-end solutions will not work if you don't understand the industry well, you don't understand the customer well. So this keep me or keep my team, we continue to progress and stay relevant, right? And that's why I've been, after change from oil and gas to telco, I'm still here. And I love it so much. Just love the challenges.
Fantastic. Being part of the change. Shihara, I gave you the opportunity to talk first. I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk last. What keeps you here?
So exactly the same as everyone else has said. It's the technology. I love it. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning, and I always want to be finding out more and understanding more about this industry and being part of this industry. Hopefully you've also noticed in a lot of my answers, I'm very data driven. And I've always, so the other part of this industry I like to be part of is the diversity, equity, and inclusion part. And I tend to come at it from a data-driven rather than a personal experience perspective. And all the data shows that there is nothing stopping women from being part of the industry, except that we aren't including enough at the table, right? Getting more into the room to be interviewed, to be part of the process, and having the right language to say, this is an industry that is accessible to you. You're our market. You use the technology in huge ways. I mean, if we look at all the social media, women by far a large market there. And that is the market that we are moving towards. So there is really no reason we shouldn't be able to change this. And the last part that keeps me here is I have my own personal board of directors, both in my personal life and at work. And that board has kept me sustained right through. So I encourage all of you, male and female, to go find yourself a board of directors that can support you through whatever tough times or progress you want to make in your industry, and support each other. And that's the way forward.
Thank you very much. We've run out of time. So I want to say a big thank you to the ladies on the panel for sharing your insights. Thank you for joining us. I do encourage people to connect, reach out to these ladies. They're role models. And I think I'm just going to sum up one of the key messages that I think I'd take away from this. Women can help your business. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you.